Welcome everybody. This is our fourth session of Hong Kong Jazz Congress. This session will be conducted by Miss AiLin Yong. She will talk about the reharmonization technique. AiLin is the founder of Jazz Teachers Training in Malaysia. She has worked as an arranger, songwriter, and jingle writer. She dedicated to jazz music education over 30 years. She also is a writer, as a music columnist.
Sure. Let me reintroduce our session today. Welcome everybody to come to the Hong Kong Jazz Congress. This is the first year we organize these events in totally online because the pandemic situation, and after 2 years of the social challenges, I hope everything will be happen again. So the first time we try to organize this is like public talks, and also like I hope could be later on would be like a forum or very true is like we can discuss a little bit more for the future, but at least we can have a starting from the beginning. For example, the basics knowledge from jazz, what the jazz difference from the other genres. Yeah, maybe all of you can introduce you a little bit. This is very good for us to have more information. What are you in learning jazz, or which kind of information you want to know more in reharmonization? Just feel free to talk to us now. Thank you. Yeah.
Silent statue. You can call me Lin. I play trumpet. AiLin is my teacher also.
Yeah. Good.
Okay, yeah, Silent is she's my student, and yeah, she plays the trumpet very well. She can improvise very well. Yeah.
So, hello, Joey.
Hi, my name is Joey, and I'm an amateur saxophone player. I don't know a lot about music theory, so I'm just exploring. Take this opportunity to join this section and learn something from you.
Okay, great, Joey. Nice to meet you. Yeah. So you don't have to worry that you don't know much about theory, or probably you know, but you are being humble. I will walk you all through the process today. For the good words, I also like to thank the organizer of Hong Kong Jazz Congress for giving me this opportunity to speak to you about reharmonization technique. So what is reharmonization? I think the first thing we should look at is from melody. Okay, so you have melody. So what is melody is usually if you're dealing with one note, creating music one note at a time, you get melody. Okay, you don't get chords. But in Western music, chords is essential, harmony is essential. Unlike maybe say Indian music, or I think Chinese music is the same as well, that everything goes linear. You know, the melody goes in a single line, and then probably you have another line going on at the same time, and you're not thinking vertically, okay, as harmony. So if you have two notes playing at the same time, two notes or more, we'll call it chords. So when you want to put chords to the melody, we call it a harmonize. You harmonize the melody, okay? Like, you got like, then you put a C chord to that. All right, so that's, you're harmonizing the melody by putting chords to it. So reharmonization, it's a little bit more than that. Reharmonization is basically taking away the original chords or original chord progression from a song and putting in your own chords. So, it's a little bit like a creative process as well. It is quite creative. It's not like writing melody, but let's put it this way. Let's say you're drawing a picture. Okay, so the melody is the outline, like the person that you draw. Maybe you're drawing a very beautiful girl, so that will be your melody. And you have the background, right? So your background may be the girl is on the beach, wearing bikini, and then you got coconut tree and all that. So that is your background. That is your chord progression. So let's say you have the same girl, and now you put her in front of a nightclub, or under the street light on a Saturday night, city, with nice neon lights and all that. And all of a sudden, the girl will look very different from, when she was on the beach. So that is what the chords will do to a melody. So reharmonization is actually very interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna show you one example. I'm gonna walk you through the whole process. I think that will be more interesting than just telling you, you're gonna use this technique and that technique. I'm just gonna walk you through the process of how I would harmonize, how I would reharmonize a tune, a very simple tune, and then you can see the process. So I'm gonna show you on the piano, but if you think you need to see the notes, please let me know. You can put it on the chat, then I can share screen. Otherwise, I'm just, probably I just play and see, how things goes, okay? So I'm gonna start with a very simple tune, a tune that everybody knows, the one that goes. Okay, so that, are you sleeping, are you sleeping? I think every culture has their own little version of that tune. So it's a, the original song may be just two chords, just one chord. Then it goes to chord 5. Okay? So we notice that in this song, every little phrase is repeated. Like, then you play a second time. Okay? Then go. And then you play another time. Yeah? And another time. Okay, so it's quite boring if you keep repeating the same chord progression, like using one chord throughout the whole thing. So I like to use songs like this because it's very obvious, when you do some sort of reharmonization. So, okay, first thing, diatonic chords. Okay, so let me switch to the piano. Okay, you can see the keys, right? All right. So let's say I'm using the F key. Okay, so if we were to use the F key, all the diatonic chords are the chords that you build from the F chord. No, the F major scale, sorry. Right, so you go like. Okay, so you get the B flat, right? Then you go to the next one, A minor, B flat major 7, C7, D minor, E minor 7 flat 5, and then F major 7. Okay, so those are what we call diatonic chord. So your first 3 notes. So you got the, F, G, A, F, right? So what happened is, if you were to use diatonic chords to reharm this, so you got the F, right? So you will harmonize the chord that has the F note. You have a few choices, in fact, right? You can have the F chord, you can have the B flat chord, right? Yeah, so you can have the D minor chord. See, all these 3 chords that belongs to the F major has the F note. All right? So let's say we pick the very original F chord. And then as you move along, I can use the G minor, and then I can go back to my F chord. Okay, so you can see that the third one is slightly different, that I have a different bass note. Okay, just to check with Jonathan, are you seeing the screen, my piano, is it the right position?
Yes, I can see them. And some of us actually is pianists also, and they are joining us also. Yeah, like Caspar and Venus. Yeah.
Okay, that would be great. Okay, so okay, is a diatonic chord reharmonization. It is not quite interesting, but it does sound slightly different from the original. All right? So the next step, we want to move a little bit further than just diatonic chords. So let's try diminished chords. So you have this. So in the F chord, you have F and A. They are chord tones. But the G is not a chord tone in an F chord, right? So your F chord is, so you got this and this. That is a non-chord tone. So we're going to harmonize this note with a diminished chord. Okay, so what you get, I'm going to play the same like what I did just now, F chord. Okay, so let's see. F chord, a B flat diminished 7 chord, back to F chord. So if you compare from the first one, now you get, yeah, it does sound a little bit more interesting, right? Yeah, but you know, that is still not the thing yet. You know, it's like you still need a little bit more. So we are going to proceed to another step. So initially I'm playing triads. Triads means 3 notes. So now I'm going to use 4 notes. So since I'm doing it in F key, I'm going to use F6, right? So I got an F6 chord. Okay, a little bit fuller than just triads, right? You got this, right? And then, okay, so I'm going to do another thing is, I'm going to hold the F as a pedal note, and then I'm going to do something what we call drop 2. Drop 2. So you're going to count 4, we have 4 notes here, right? So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4. So when we say drop 2, you're going to drop the second one. This one. You're going to drop this down 1 octave. So you're going to playing the same note but 1 octave lower. See that? So initially you have this, then you drop this down 1 octave and you don't play that. Okay? So I'm going to do this with the next chord also. That diminished chord if you still remember. So I'm going to drop the second one. Then I'm going to drop the third one over here. No, the second one on the third chord. See? So it's going to look like that. With the F pedal note. Okay, speed up a little bit. Okay, so let's compare this with the initial one. Okay, or this. And now we have. Okay, so if you are a pianist, you may want to play it a little bit more pianistically instead of block chords like that. So, you know, I might move the delay the first chord a little bit. Okay, so let's say I'm very happy with my first bar. That's only first bar. We have 8 bars to go. So the second bar comes. So the second bar, you have the same melody. All right, so you're not going to play this twice, right? Okay, that is not happening. So you want to keep the first bar. I'm going to go to the second bar. So now the second bar, you may want something that sounds different. Okay, let me switch to my face for a while. Okay, so as you know, there are 3 chord functions in every key. So you got the tonic function, you got the subdominant function, and the dominant function. So it's just like if you play the tonic chord, you know, that's a tonic function. That is a subdominant function. And then you got the dominant function. Okay, so these are the 3 main functions. It's like when you do coloring, you know, when you're painting, you have 3 primary colors. You have the red, blue, and what's the other one? Yellow. And out of these 3 colors, you can mix and you can get other colors. So these are the same. The chords that we play now, the tonic, subdominant, and dominant are the same. So I'm going to make use of this because they have different sound, you know. This sounds very homey, that you are in a very stable situation. But if I go to the subdominant function, you can hear that you have left. You know, maybe you're going to Paris and you're on the way. That's your flight. You know, you haven't reached the destination yet. When you reach the fifth chord, the dominant chord, you feel like, oh yeah, I'm in Paris now. Okay? And then eventually you may want to go home. Back to your tonic. So I'm going to use this opportunity of going away from the home key or home chord or the tonic chord. I'm going to harmonize this F note, the second round of F note, using the fourth chord, which is B flat chord, B flat major 7. So you have the F note here. So that's a B flat major 7. See, just nice. Okay, so this is 1. Okay, right? So you got this. I'm going to start with this. Chord 4, chord 5, chord 1. So I got, these are all diatonic chords. 4, 5, 1. Very strong. You know, maybe you play this in the church. You know, maybe you do this, you know, the very dominant sound. But if you are playing this like a ballad, maybe you want to tone down a little bit. So there's another chord which is also in a subdominant category, which share most of the notes. That will be the second chord. You got the G minor chord. Okay, so you can use G minor because, you know, that is your chord 4. And you just add one more note. With a different bass note, you get a minor sound. And then I can move on to A minor. See? And B flat. So G minor, A minor, B flat. Back to B flat in another position. So you notice I'm always keeping the melody on top. The melody is in the top voice. And I will harmonize below the melody. Okay? So you get this. So it sounds pretty good. Let me start from the first bar. Okay, but it's still not there yet. I still want to do a little bit more. So we're going to alter something. So you got minor chord. See? Okay, so I'm going to alter this A minor and turn it into a major sound. Okay, a major sound. So I'm going to change from C to C sharp. Alright, so you're going to get this. So you have a contrast of minor and major. I mean, this is quite cool already, but maybe it's a little bit brighter. You know, I kind of like this, right? Okay, or you can do something else with the arrangement, like you can do this. Yeah, it's actually the same thing, but you just just use another note on the left hand. Right? Okay, so I got a G minor, A7, going to B flat. Okay, now we can add a little bit more spices to this by adding some tension notes. Okay, so I don't know if you're familiar with tension notes, but those are the notes that you extend beyond your 4-note chord. So let's say your G minor chord, you got 1, 3, 5, 7, then you got your 9, and then you got your 11. Okay, so yeah, usually they call that jazz notes, you know, because they give you a certain kind of tension that you feel like you need to release it. So here we go. I'm going to add one tension note to my G minor, which is the 11. See, 11 is actually the 4th. You know, you're counting a compound interval. So let's say I'm going to do this. See, it's a lot nicer than this. There you go. One more time. How do you like that? So you know, from bar 1, okay, so it's very different from the original chord 1 throughout the whole thing. Then we go on to, you know, then we have this. All right, so that would be bar 3 and bar 4. Okay, so if you are using diatonic chords like what we initially do, Oh no, maybe this. Okay, this is a very strong, very dominant sound. Chord 1, F chord, subdominant chord, dominant chord. Okay, so you got F, B flat, and C. Okay, very strong chords. Now, how am I going to approach this? I'm going to look at two bars at the same time. So from the first bar, you have let me show you this. Okay, so I'm going to do 2 5s. I don't know if you're familiar with 2 5s. So if you're in the key of F, usually we have what we call a jazz cadence. You know, the second chord, and then the fifth chord, and then the chord 1. So it sounds like a cadence and ending. So I'm going to use 2 5 to harmonize the. So I'm going to start from the second bar. Okay, the second bar of this pair. So I'm going to start with G minor and then 5. So you got G minor 7 going to C7. See that? So that's using 2 5. So if I go back to the original, you know, the nursery rhyme thing, it is still F chord. But now we inserted a G minor and C7. You notice something? What's going on is that I never really look at the original chords. So even if you're doing something that is a little bit more complicated, usually you just stripped everything off. Strip off the clothes, you know, and you just want the bare melody, just a melody. So you forget about everything that you know about the original chord, so that you can look at the melody fresh, like something that you haven't seen before. And now you can dress up the melody the way you want it. Okay? You know, maybe this is like this model that came out, you know, originally she's just wearing some, I don't know, some office clothes, you know, the office lady clothes with nice tight skirts and tight fitting shirt. And, you know, you just forget about that, you know, you just see her like a mannequin, and then you put on everything, floral dress, Latino, big fancy floral hat, and, you know, with all that, and you're going to make her look different. So it depends on what you want her to look like. So it depends on what you want the melody to sound like. Okay, so whatever that happens before, whatever that happens with the composer, you know, that the composer wants to compose this song in such a way, you don't bother anymore. So, you know, for a jazz musician, you are always treating the song with disrespect to the composer. All right? You don't really respect what the composer wants. Okay? But you just take what the composer has done and you make it your own. You turn it into your own little thing. Okay, so I'm going to get back to that 2 5. Okay, so we have this, that 2 5. So that is the second bar of that pair. So I'm going to go backwards. So we got G minor going to C. So let's say I go backwards from G minor, the one before that. I have this C note, right? So what am I going to do with the C note? So I try to find relationship. This is very essential, the relationship of one chord with another. So from G minor, I assume that G minor is my temporary one, and I'm going to find the dominant, which is the fifth chord of this chord. So I got a D chord. Okay, so I'm going to put a 7 to that. So there will be a D7. So you have a D7 that fits into this C note perfectly well. So, you know, whatever happens in front, da, da, D, and then you go to G minor. Okay, so you got 3 chords now. So what are you going to do before that? Before you reach this, you have these 2 notes. Okay, so let's say I'm going to use the same device. Just now I have G minor. Okay, then I walk 5 steps. I got the D7. And I'm going to walk another 5 steps. That will be A. Okay, so I'm going to make a dominant 7 chord out of the A. So I'm going to get A7. So if I'm looking at the chord itself, it's A7, D7, G minor, C7, maybe I'll go back to F, I don't know. See? So you can hear the cycle of 5, right? Okay, so A, sorry. Okay, then. Okay, so what is going on is that in every bar, 4 beats, you get 2 chords. Okay, so your chord changes twice in a bar. Bum, bum. You got 1 chord here, you know, change and then change, you know, so you got changes. So there's a harmonic rhythm. Okay, if you stay stagnant, your harmonic rhythm, the rhythm of the harmony, the rhythm of the chord stays for 2 bars, 8 beats. But now you have the rhythm of every 2 beats. Okay? Okay, so that's not it yet. That is not it yet. So what are we going to do with the next part? So remember next part? So I'm going to look at this first before I finalize bar 3 and 4. Okay, so now originally still F chord. Okay, so we say, I remember, you know, flying to Paris. So you got that home, and then I can fly to Paris, and then I reach Paris, and I go home. So I'm going to fly to Paris again. So I got this. So if I use chord 4. Okay, so this is quite popish, right? It sounds pop song, right? Yeah, but it does make it happen, right? It sounds like, okay, you're away from there. Okay, let's say I want the B flat major 7 for bar 5, the 5th bar. So if I have this, I may be able to change what I have before. Remember the last one we did? You know, that G minor, C7, and you remember we did all the cycle 5 before that? Now I want to do another cycle 5 from my B flat major 7. You notice that we are working backwards. So you got B flat major 7, so what's the 5th chord? I got an F7. Okay, so I'm going to put the F7 before B flat major 7. So if you remember, we did A, and then we did G minor. So we got this C7, right? Now I'm not going to play the C7, I'm going to play F. Then I go to B flat. You hear the difference? Let's say I do the G minor with the C. Now with the F. See that? Then you go that. So the F works so much better, right? But you wouldn't figure that out if you don't see the B flat major 7 here. Yeah, you wouldn't know what to do, right? Because you see G minor, and then you see C7, and you're very happy already, I got a 2-5, right? Yeah, but if you look ahead and you see, okay, I'm going to do a B flat. Therefore, you can plan for that, and you do this, and you substitute what you have reharmonized into C7, now into F. F7. So I'm using a tension 9. If I don't use a tension 9, it will look like that. Okay, so let's say I'm quite happy with that. Okay, so I'm gonna make it a little bit more pianistic, maybe like. See, still G minor. I just break it up. That's a 9. Still G minor, and then an approach note to the F, and then some inner line to move down. Okay, so far, we are halfway. Any question before I move on? Because there's another half. Any question?
Yeah, if
Before I go
anyone
to 10.
want to ask some questions, maybe
If you have any question, you can turn on your mic and ask, or you can put it in the chat so Jonathan can tell me what.
Yeah, just feel free to ask some questions.
Yeah.
Caspar is writing something, but yeah, just a little bit recap. I'm so glad is you use painting or drawing to describe what reharmonization functions in the music. It's very interesting. For example, we like if I'm not understanding wrongly, it's like the girl or the female character actually is the main object, as so we are treating her as a melody. Is it right? And
Yeah, you're right. Yes.
yeah. The second part is like what we are putting her in the background, for example, in the coconut trees, or some she if she dressed up as like an office lady or wearing bikini, it's like our putting some colors on her. So we have the reharmonization. That means we are putting some colors on the melody. Is that right?
Yeah, you remind me of something, you know, back then, long time ago when I was arranging music for, you know, those commercial albums. Usually we get songs, you know, some songwriter will just strum the guitar and record, you know, back then cassette, I don't know whether you all know cassette or not. That makes me sound so old anyway. So, you know, you just strum and then sing the tune, ba-da-doo-da-da, whatever. And the arranger will have to figure out what chords they have used, and usually there will be like half of it that you wouldn't want to use. And usually the arranger will need to do the reharmonization. Okay, I would say 99% of the time. So yeah, so you know, when you say the songwriter wrote the song, sometimes it is a work of both, you know, the songwriter and arranger. But now I think it's slightly different because now, you know, you got all these fantastic apps where you can, you know, do everything. So I don't think this situation is still happening.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so a little bit more. So it seems like, yeah, you described as that our journey to some, for example, to go traveling trips, like the, is it you symbolic these things like in the chord progressions, or is it true? Or,
Yeah, the journey part is actually about the function of the chords. So, you know, in every scale you have 7 chords, right? Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, or whatever, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, whatever you have, major or minor key, or even modes, you know, do, re, mi, sol, la, ti.
Yeah.
You will have 7 of them usually, and you can actually summarize it and you come up with 3 family, you know, like 3 functions. The tonic, the subdominant, and the dominant function. And 3 functions sound very different. So usually when you reharmonize, you may want to pick from one of these families to start off first, you know, because they are the most obvious ones. So like, you know, just now I wanted to do this one, you know, stuff like that, right? So, you know, I say, oh, I want a chord 4, so that, you know, I want to feel like I'm flying to some other country, exotic country, that kind of feeling. See?
So yeah, is it making it sounds like more jazzy? It's like you means that this reharmonization technique will help us to make the songs like sounds like a jazz music. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, yeah, this is a very interesting question and very important question. Yeah, does it sound jazz? Now, when something sounds jazz, usually you hear non-diatonic chords or non-diatonic notes. You know, means the notes that do not belong to the key. So as we were doing just now, we have, remember we did this A7 and then D7, and then, you know, that part where you actually have chords that doesn't belong to the F major key that we started off with. So when you do things like that, it's like you route the path, you know, instead of going straight, you have an additional path to make it a little bit more interesting. I would say jazz chord progressions are trying to get to a destination by not going through the highway, but you just like to see the small path and small roadside scenery, countryside scenery, where you can see a lot of very interesting things before reaching your destination. Okay, So I think that is more interesting than just, slip your way through, and because it's so boring on the highway and then you just reach there fast, and there's nothing much that you can describe. But when you are using a reharmonization technique, is that you are putting in chords that do not, that you will not usually do if you are doing it diatonically. Like you're doing it using chords from the key itself, okay? From like whatever major key or minor key itself. But you're using different methods. What we use just now is like a diminished chord. The diminished chord doesn't belong to that key, F key. We also use what is actually called a secondary dominant, means the dominant chord of the key, temporary, like we have G minor, which is the second chord, G minor. It's not the first chord. So the usual dominant chord will be C7 that you will resolve to F. But now we use a dominant chord, which is D7, that will resolve to G minor. So in D7, you have F sharp note. So in F major, you do not have F sharp note, right? So that F sharp note, you bring some sort of new sound to the whole piece. Will give you a kind of new experience. So other than secondary dominant, from that D7 to G minor, we had A7 going to D7. Right? So the A7 is a 5/7 of that secondary dominant. So that's called an extended dominant. So that is even further. So that will give you the C sharp. The C sharp doesn't belong to the key of F. So you see, by using these chords, and they don't just pop up for no reason. They don't just pop up. You're not like you look at a certain note and say, oh, I have a G note. And then, you say, I know there's also this method of reharmonization that is a lot of people use. Let's say, you got like a, and then you look at the A, and then you say, oh, A, let's find something that I can use in A. Maybe I can use F sharp minor. Oh, then maybe that's B flat. Maybe I can use E flat chord. And then C, maybe I can use A flat chord. All right, so there are people who harmonize like that. Doesn't mean that it's wrong, but what did I use just now? F sharp minor, E flat, and then I use A flat. Okay, it sounds like, wow, that is so cool, okay? But there is always a problem because they are not related to each other. Even though this one and this one, from E flat to A flat is related, because, subconsciously I would hear the cycle 5, all right? So I shouldn't use my subconscious, but I can't help it. It's like you can see that. But if you do not have this experience, you may come across this problem that, okay, how am I going to move from here? Then how am I going to move from here? What are the chords that I'm going to use? So the chords that you use have to have a relationship to the following chord. Okay? The chord that you have chosen that are not diatonic to the key needs to have a relationship, like a cycle 5 or a 2/5, or maybe we'll do a substitute dominant afterwards. So the relationship is essential to make the whole song connected to each other, to make all the chords connected to each other, like a big family. If you randomly choose chords, they will sound nice. Only a few chords, it will sound nice. If you loop it, then it will be very current. But if it's a long stretch of composition, you may get into trouble that you get stuck and you don't know where to go from there. Okay? So that's just what I
Yeah,
think.
so Caspar just write, it seems like a question. So it means sometimes the melody notes will be the tension notes of the underlying chord after we hum. Is it true?
Yep. It can be the chord tone or the tension note. Yep, you are right. I think this is essential. Let me show you one example. Let's say you're going to... okay, back to this one. So let's say I'm going to rehum this one. And then you say, okay, I'm going to do... what am I going to do? Let's say I'm going to do a C7. Oh no, C7 will work. I'm going to do a C minor. Oh, that still works. It's a C6. Let me see what can I do that is make it sound really horrible. Okay, so let's say I put A flat minor. So that is not a tension note. So you can hear that, oh no, it's not working. It's horrible. Yeah, but if I have a G minor, it works because that's a tension 9. Right? Or if I have let's say E minor, that's tension 11, it still works. Or I have E flat 7, that's tension sharp 11. So that's another whole game of what are the appropriate tension notes for each one. Yeah, but yes, correct, you are right. You turn the melody note, which is initially maybe just a chord tone, into a tension note. So you are practically changing the girl. Okay, so the girl may be this pretty girl, maybe 16-year-old, and she's a student. But by making it into tension note, maybe you are making her sexy, something like that. Okay, did I answer your question, Casper?
Hello, teacher AiLin.
Yeah, hello.
I want to ask
Yeah.
something, right? You're talking
Yes.
about
Yes.
just using some special chord that not related to each other, right? Because while we learn like jazz harmony, right, we know that usually we need to arrange those chords in the very theoretical way, somehow like this. But I'm just wondering if just part of it, I want to use some very special chords, and then after that I just use some theory to link it back to the what you just now, like 2-5-1 or circle of fifth. Is it possible?
Okay, so you're talking about like one occasion. You're not all the way through, but maybe one occasion.
Not throughout lah.
See, yeah, so that is an exception, right? So maybe that chord that you put doesn't mean doesn't make sense to you, but probably there is a reason that it is there. Okay, let's try. Let's I want to try an example and see if we can get this. Okay, so back to this. Okay, so you got the first chord, the second chord. Let's say we use this this chord, and then you want to use a special chord. Let me see how special you want. What special chords do you want? Hey, maybe you can suggest to me what special chord you want. What special chord would you like for this particular note here?
Now it's in F major, right?
Yeah, correct.
How about we use A chord?
A chord. All right. Okay. So let's do this. So you got this diminished chord. Okay. So now when you nice. Okay. Then you go back to this one. You go to D minor. Then it is not unusual, Ricky, because it is related to D minor. So let's say you don't D minor. Sorry, that's F. I have to do this. Wait, just a second. So if I go to D7, D7 is also not a chord from F, okay? But I wanted, the melody has to be F, right? And I wanted the D to sound majorish. So now I have turned it into a tension sharp 9. See? So I have F, diminished chord, then your A7, and then a D7 sharp 9. So the A7 and D7 sharp 9 both are non-diatonic chord. Okay, then you say, okay, you're going to bring it back. You're going to bring it back to your diatonic chords or whatever chords. Maybe you go to G minor. See? See, but now you can see the relationship because the D7 goes to G minor. See? It's the fifth chord of G minor. Right? And then from D, that is the fifth chord. So the A7, again, 5/7 of D. D is 5/7 of G minor. See? And then diatonic chord. So, eventually, you thought you did something that is that is out of nowhere, but then what you will hear after that chord will bring you back. And then the special chord that you use will make sense. It is actually related to the following chord most of the time. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So it means after we use the special chord already, and then we have to try to link it back. If not, the whole thing will be not making sense already.
But usually you don't have to try to link it back. You will hear it. You will hear it because it's somehow in the nature of our hearing. Maybe it's the habit that you always want to hear a certain kind of resolution. So it will make the chord that you thought was special. It is still special. You thought it was so special that it's not related to anybody from that family. But and then when you play the next chord, you'll find that, oh boy, it is actually a cousin of the following chord, something like that.
Oh, okay. It means
Yeah.
easily you actually can get, for example, just now the A is actually just like extended dominant, something like this.
Yeah, it is actually an extended dominant. No, that one was it's 5/7 of the secondary dominant. You're right, absolutely right.
Oh,
Yep, good.
okay, okay.
Yeah. You're picking up very fast. Excellent. Yeah.
Just one more question, teacher. Okay, I'm just
Yes.
wondering. Just now you got do the something like circle of fifth in your reharmonization, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
just wondering because just now the patterns is like minor, major, minor, major, something like
Okay.
this. Like because
Oh,
two five.
you're talking this da 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 da. Is it?
Ah,
And then I go to F. I go to F. Is it that part? I have actually.
yeah.
Yeah, actually they are all dominant 7 except that 2 minor. I got this A7
Oh,
and then D7 and I go to G minor. I'm supposed to go to C, but I went to F. So the second chord, the G minor, didn't resolve to the 5. The G minor was deceptive. You thought it's going to the C7, but it didn't. So suddenly I pop this F7 to you and I'm like, oh, what's that? Then I resolve. Then I go back to my B flat major. So they are all related to each other.
oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm
Can.
I'm thinking is it the 2 5 that the what's that the
The
circle of fifth,
cycle.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the cycle can mix like with a patterns of like alternative minor major minor major minor major that kind.
Yeah, can. That would be like maybe like a sequence of 2 5 2 5 2 5.
Oh,
So it's
you
like
also.
just now. Yeah, it's also 2 5. Like just now, I did this right. You can just use A minor, D7, G minor, C7. So that you have like A minor going to D7, G minor going to C7. See, so those are 2 5 2 5. Yeah, this is like a very common chord progression that you use. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for your question. Yes. Okay. So let me carry on. Jonathan, is there anything?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
seems the time is running short. Maybe we have a short review.
Q&A.
Because like
Yeah.
here, I'm very appreciate that Casper asked a very good question. It's like in reharmonization, is there some kind of a very specific rules or some kind of I don't know. It's like at least we can make it more sounds like jazz. Seems like for example, he mentioned about circle of fifth, and then you answered like the 2 5 progression maybe is like work it as some kind of function here. Is it true? Is it like the 2 5 is playing a very important role in reharmonization?
Yep, the 2 5 is one of the techniques that you will use. Usually if you have, let's put on this again. Okay, let's say you got the very common thing, like you got 5 to 1. Okay, let's say you're in C key, you got G7 going to C, right? So you got, maybe your song goes, okay, very boring song, got G, C. Right? Then you instead of G, you play. So that's it. See? So you got a 2/5. You got a 2/5. You know, or yeah, or you can have sub-5, a tritone substitution. So instead of just your usual. Okay, so that is a very basic reharmonization technique that you can use. You can do it on the spot. You know, even if you're jamming or whatever, you can just do that on the spot. You don't have to plan ahead. Otherwise, like, you know, something that is more complicated, you need to actually plan ahead. So if you are hearing Bill Evans, you know, he doesn't just sit down and do all the reharmonization on the spot. He actually planned all those chords ahead of time. Yeah.
So if any others want to add some questions or comments here, is let me check it. Silence just asked it. Is Reharm helpful for horn players? Oh yeah.
Okay. So horn, yeah, I remember Silence said that she plays the trumpet, right? Yep. So yeah, you may think that, hey, chords, if I play the saxophone, I play the trumpet, I play the trombone, it has nothing to do with me, you know, cause I play one note at a time, but it has a lot to do with you, even if you play the trumpet. Okay, so let me show you one example. Let's say you play one note at a time. You have, let's say 2/5/1 again. Okay, so let's say you're playing your lick. Okay, let's say you just do this. Right? So, first of all, let's say the pianist did a reharm. Okay? You are doing this da 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 for D minor, G7, and C major 7. But the pianist did a reharm. Okay, so instead of G7, he played a D flat 7. Now he makes the note sound very different, right? One more time. Okay, now with the substitute chord from the pianist. Okay, so that's the pianist side. You say that, hey, it has nothing to do with me. I'm still playing the same thing, you know, just that the pianist changes something. Okay, now let's say the pianist didn't change. The pianist did. Okay, so you're going to do your lick. You say that, okay. So the pianist is going to do the G and you're going to play your D flat chord, like, you know what he did just now. See that? One more time, huh? So you have D minor, the usual one, and then the pianist played G chord, and you played D flat chord. See? So you were using a substitute chord. You were using a substitute chord that you didn't actually work out with the pianist ahead of time. So you got your whole rhythm section maybe just playing okay, very straight ahead thing, but you play with the tricks. You know what they are going to play. They are going to play the G7, but you don't want to play the G7. You play the substitute chord of the G7, which is a D flat 7. So you just play the chord tones. See? So you got. You got it? So, you know, does it have anything to do with horn players? I sure think there is. You can actually achieve a lot of different things if you know about reharmonization and also the theory behind the chord progression. Yeah, then your improvisation will sound very different from by just looking at the chord, and you see G7 and you're thinking of G7 and all the notes in G7. But if you know the substitute chord, you will use the notes from the substitute chord to clash with the rest in the band. Okay, so yeah, I hope that helps answer your question. Silent, is that right? Okay.
Yeah, seems Caspar also writing something and Bin Bin is typing. Yeah, I think we still have some time, so yeah, just feel free to ask us if you have any information.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
You see, I will.
Thank you, teacher.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Who's that just now? Who said thank you? Sorry, I didn't.
Thank you, teacher.
He is silent, I think.
Oh, silent. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, there's another half of this song, but I'm not gonna go through because it's gonna take a long time. I'm giving out the PDF of the Reham score of that Are You Sleeping? So later I will give you my email address. You can send me email address, just write request for PDF, and then I'll just send you that PDF so you can look at the rest of it. If you have any other question, you can always email me, and I'm always there for you. Yeah. Okay, so any other question, we'll do more questioning and discussion. I think that's more interesting.
Yeah, I think the people understand that, and it seems like the reharmonization or the harmony is so important to all players like that.
Yeah, there's one trick that is really helpful. Just throw you another trick. Let's say you use diminished chord like what we did just now, right? So you're in a key of F, right? So your F chord, let's say we take the, usually chord 1 we'll do F6, right? We do F6, F, A, C, and D. So when you have these notes, you harmonize with your F chord. Okay, and your chord 6. Okay, or I'm do 6 or 6. Alright? And you have the rest of the notes, right? This. Right? This. You get these 3 other notes that you don't know what you're going to do with it. So you can harmonize this with the diminished chord. Right? And then this one. Okay, and then the E. So what is going on is, and then you got diminished chord here. And then your F chord again. And then your another diminished chord. Yeah, and then your F chord again. Another F chord. And then diminished chord. And then F. See, so that is just diminished chord on the notes that doesn't belong to F6. So that's good. That's a good trick if you need continuous chords. You want the progression to move on, like you have a tune that da 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 da. Maybe you then can F. And then, see, instead of just okay, then you can have more interesting. Yeah. So that will give you a more interesting sound. So that is one that you can just pick up easily. Yep. Okay.
So
Any other questions?
Yeah, and yeah.
You can just you can just turn on the mic like Casper, and we can have discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything about reharmonization?
It means we need to have knowledge before we do the reharmonization.
Yeah, that's true. You cannot just simply you can just simply play, you may end up sounding good. I don't know. Sometimes you just by luck, you just hit the right chord and then it sounded good. But with the knowledge, you have more confidence. The first thing is that you will have more confidence and you know what you have done. Okay, so all the chords will not happen just because they happen, but they are there for a certain reason, and you will be more confident. Yeah.
Because just now I see what you are doing is like very difficult, but doing it in a very easy way. So what I'm thinking is like maybe we really have to got the knowledge first before we can do the rehab.
Yeah, it's not really that difficult. You can just do one thing at a time, because I'm very generous. I want to show you everything. I want to show you everything in such a short time. But you can just use one element at a time. Like I just show you that diminished chord. You can just play around with that diminished chord. It can take you a long way. You can just use that for any song that you want. And you see what you get, from there. Yeah. Okay, so it's not that threatening. You can do one step at a time. Then you can use your secondary dominant and the 5/7 of whatever diatonic chord that you have to reharmonize. But the basic thing is that you have to strip off whatever you have originally. So you don't let it influence you. The original song, how it sounds like. Don't let that influence you. You just look at the melody like a guideline. So it's also a creative process. It's a creative process where you change the character of a certain melody. and to make it sound like your thing, your song. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this question is quite interesting because it's like on Monday we have the jazz composition session, and actually some of us asked similar questions like, how can we sound nice or sound better? It seems like asking some kind of questions. How can we judge ourselves if I put it wrongly or something like that? Yeah.
Oh, you're saying that how can you tell if what you did was right or was it good?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So that has something to do with confidence, right? Because you got nothing to argue with, right? If somebody says that, hey, that sounds horrible, and you got nothing to argue with because you did something, but you don't know what you did. So we always say that theory is horrible. Theory. No, I don't want theory. I got good hearing. I can hear and I can play. Yeah, that is a talent that somebody has. But by knowing how to do a certain things, we're actually learning from from our teachers, from the maestros that have experienced all this, and somebody just somehow we sum up the thing that this will sound good if we do this and that, right? So you have a theory to explain that that is why it sounded good, or that is why it sounded bad because it is not related to your neighbor, your left and your right, and it just pop up from nowhere, and it sounds strange. But yeah, you always get people that argue that no, I think it is very good. Yeah, but good and bad is just in the eye of the beholder. You cannot say that it's bad therefore it's bad. No, not really. Yeah, maybe like between among 100 people and 99 say that it's horrible, then it's probably there's something wrong with it. Yeah.
Is there
So what did the Monday session came up with that question that you all discussed? Any conclusion from?
Actually, it's like the first basic one is like what the sound you would like to deliver. So this is the first you have to think about. If you have something want to deliver, for example, you love Bill Evans. So if you want to deliver a sound like Bill Evans, so you can try because we're talking about songwriting, the composition. So just compare if it sounds like Bill Evans. Yeah, it's a very dummy version. But another question is like it's only yourself to know how to judge yourself.
Okay, that is a bit vague, it's like, what is actually this fellow is trying to say? Good or bad, actually, the majority wins. Okay, you're right. How come Bill Evans is good? Why everybody says Bill Evans is good? So there's a certain sound that he creates, right? And maybe that is the sound that he creates without, maybe he has the knowledge, but maybe he doesn't have the knowledge. I don't know. Probably that's not such a good example. I should say Miles Davis probably. So Miles Davis is more playing by ear kind of person. So let's say when he was doing this kind of blue album, that was like a beginning stage of a modal jazz. So he was experimenting with something that is new. So you wouldn't say that he has this theory that he studied, and then you come up with the modal jazz because I studied this in this book. No, but he started a new trend. So that is experimenting something that is not in the theory syllabus that you have seen so far. So if you're doing something that not by the book, and a lot of people say that it's horrible, but you still insist that no, this is going to become something. Okay, this is going to become a new trend, and maybe you insist on that, and then there will be people that like your thing. You need to have somebody that likes your thing. So if more people likes your thing, then then it will be something. Then it will be something. See, So that is always a breakthrough when people do things like this that is not by the book. Because as time goes by, things keep changing. So when you're at the time of a Baroque, you wouldn't know funk, right? You wouldn't be, if somebody plays funk to Bach, and then he might think that you are nuts, right? Hey, this is not by the book, this is wrong, right? But somebody probably insists on doing that, and then it become a trend because people like it. So yeah, but there is some very ridiculous type of horrible sound that you will want to try to avoid, probably. Yeah, but art is in the eye of beholder. It's very difficult to say right and wrong. Yeah. Okay.
So
Any other question?
yeah, if anyone want to ask some questions here.
Yeah, feel free. This is free lesson.
Yeah.
Oh, is Joey still there? Joey was saying that he doesn't know much theory, but I hope he's still around. Is he?
I'm still here.
Yeah. So
Yeah, which is far beyond my understanding.
oh,
Because
okay.
yeah, I play saxophone, and as you say, I play one note at a time, and especially I don't have much knowledge about theory. I only know a few about chords. So when you talk about reharmonization, and it seems like a very complicated topic for me. At least I need to learn all the chords before I understand the the the, the way
Okay,
it is done.
okay, Joey, don't overwhelm yourself. I'm just gonna just give you one trick, and then you're gonna just use that. So I was showing you that. Remember, Silent was asking about the horn player, whether chords are important. Don't think that you play one note at a time. You do not play chords. You do. You are still playing chords. Let's say you play something like. Okay, so da 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 da. You're playing a D minor, right? But you're playing one note at a time. Ba da da da. Okay, maybe you want to do like da 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 da. Okay. That is a G chord. So you got T. So you got Re, Fa, La, Do, D minor chord, Ti, So, Re. That is your G chord. Then you just do a chromatic note to the Mi. That is your C chord. So you got three chords there. See, I don't need to play chords here. You can hear the chord. You can actually hear. Right? So you can actually play around with that. That is using the original chord. But as I was saying, the substitute chord that you can use whenever you get a 5-1, especially at the end of the song. Usually you get that, okay? At the end of the song, you get the 5-1. So instead of the 5, you use, your 1, maybe you're in C key. I don't know what key you are in. So let's assume C key. You just go up a semitone. And then you build a major chord, a major triad. All right? You can just do that. So you can have... So you got D flat, F, and A flat. There you go. See? Then you get this note, this sound. So your rhythm section, maybe it's playing. See, it's still playing D minor, G7, C major 7, but you're playing something that is very happening. Okay, so you can still play around with chords, but you don't have to know everything until you can start doing something. You can do learn one little trick, and then you can use it, use it a lot. Then you can learn the next trick, and then you use it a lot. Yeah. it's a long way, you know. Every day we are still learning. There are so many things that you can learn, and then you need to do some breakthrough, like what Casper was saying, like, you know, doing something that's special, that is out of the book, so that you can have new song. Yep. Okay. So, any other question?
Yeah, if no, I would like to thank you, AiLin. Thank
Yes,
you
thank you
for
very
giving
much.
us a lot of information about reharmonization. It's like talking about doing a visual art, like the painting or drawing. And if you want to stand out, like for your objects as your melody, or you are a horn player, or you are a soloist, you want to make the color very different from what the rhythm session do. It's like some with reharmonization can help you to stand out more. So it's a very good tools for giving us to have more varieties to do the improvisation also. And yeah, it's true that if you are pianist or you are the arranger, is a reharmonization also give you more chances to make the music different. It's very good. So it's for example, if you are familiar with jazz, we are always use something like make the music sounds like long diatonic. It's like make it more spicy or jazzy or whatever you describe, but it's like provide us a lot of more tools we can use. So apart from Monday, Kingston just told us a little bit more information about jazz composition. Now today, the AiLin introduced us about some reharmonization techniques. So I hope we all have something to get into the pocket. And if you want to do a better improvisation, or even you would like to have a more creative in your work, or you are working on a song, or you are composing or rearranging, reharmonizationing, yes, anyway. But it's like I hope it helps for every of you and to do something. Yeah, that is if you have any questions, just feel free to ask us, or just contact AiLin directly. I hope it is very good to all of you. And yeah, maybe we will do another time in the next year. I'm not so sure, but we will hope that this is our I don't know, for the step for beginning. Maybe you will be more advanced in the future. I hope it helps at least something. Yeah, I hope it could help. And tomorrow we will have another two panelists. They will share a little bit more how they find the jazz in their areas, such as the metal music and the house music. The house music, you can treat it as a club music or electronic music or dance music, whatever. Because I know them, because I actually I'm studying in Berlin, and I met them in Berlin, and they would like to try to talk a little bit more how they find these jazz elements in their work. So it's a very I don't know, it's an interesting topic, because nowadays I think is the genre is always a fusion or mixed together. But the key things is like why the jazz is interesting. I think it is a very good insights for us to moving forward. Is I hope you can enjoy our congress. And yesterday I just posted another two session will be added on. Is the first one is the Bernard Hui will share a little bit more how he find out the way to stepping into the jazz world and playing the jazz. And also Barry Lam will help us to give us some more information. If you are playing in a band, you have a bandmates, how do you communicate or work together in a long term or so like a long period of time, you will maybe grow to each other. Yeah, and yeah, thank you, AiLin, again. Yeah, and to have this session.
One last thing before
Yeah,
I go.
yeah,
I
sure.
just posted my email address on the chat. You can check. So you just send me if you want the score for that. Are You Sleeping Reharmonized? Just send me an email. I will send it to you. I'll send a PDF to you, free. Okay?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I will post her email address again in our platforms, so you can just contact AiLin directly if you have some questions about today's session, or even have any information you want more about jazz. You can just text her or write her email. Yeah. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you,
Okay,
AiLin.
thank you everybody. Thank you
Yeah.
everybody for joining today. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
thank
right.
you
Thank you,
so much.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
Okay.
See you guys. Bye bye.
See you. Bye bye.
Yeah.